Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. This topic had me cracking up. So, as you guys know, Bronny James made his summer league debut, and he scored 4 points, right? And various people have various things to say about that. A lot of us have been talking about the Bronny James situations surrounding his father and the Lakers and all of that. So yesterday, one of our viewers sent me a message, and he goes, "Did you hear what Cam and Mase had to say about the Bronny situation?" And funny enough, I had seen the clip, the show kind of pop up in my feed, but I didn't get a chance to click on it. So I was like, "Nah, I didn't see it yet." And he's like, "You might want to go ahead and watch that." So luckily, they released an actual clip of Cam and Mase talking about it. So I click on the clip. Right now, as you guys know, I grew up in New York. Grew up in the Bronx, New York, and I also grew up in Yonkers, New York. I say that to say that as somebody that considers himself a New Yorker to a certain extent, I can kind of see through the little underlying jokes and the smirks and the things that they say and the pauses. You just get it. Right? You just get it. So I click on the clip to hear what Cam and Mase had to say, right? And Mase is funny, man. These dudes is funny. They got some genuine chemistry, Cam and Mase. So Mase, Mase, man, he just be like, even Mase, when he pauses, like he already when he doesn't say anything and he's about to say something, it's going to be funny. And usually Cam starts cracking up. So they asked him to kind of weigh in. The moderator asked him to weigh in on Bronny James' situation. And Mase, man, he started doing this thing, which was hilarious. But then when it came to Cameron was like, yo, man, I'm going to keep it funny. Like, it was just so funny. So what we want to do now is we want to play exactly what Mase and Cameron had to say. And also listen to Cam, because Cam is super funny in this audio. Listen to Mase and Cam. We're going to come back and react to them. Take a listen to these guys here.
All right, so now we got to discuss Bronny James. So he had his summer league debut at the California Classic. He had 4 points, was 2 for 9 for shooting, and played 22 minutes. Ahead of his second game, he will sit out due to a swelling in his left knee. He is expected to play Wednesday for the final Classic game against the Heat. So with the information that we know and then what we've seen, how do you guys feel about Bronny James' start so far?
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let Cam lead the way on this. This is PR at its best. There's marketing and then there's PR. This is great PR. He's hurt. So if he's hurt, then that's the reason he had 4 points. This is PR at its best. I want to hear what Gilla got to say. I don't have nothing to say about this, but there's marketing and then there's PR. For all you young kids watching this is PR at its best. He didn't have a bad game. He was hurt. His knee is hurt. And that's why he sat out. He wasn't 100%.
Look, that my but we gonna call it like we said, ain't play good. Secondly, how's the second game and you hurt? You 18, 19 years old. You can't be hurt the second game of the season. Come on. Secondly, yo, nephew, look, I don't like all the smiling. It's too much smiling for me. I don't like all that out there. Hunky, hey, come on, man. Get that Pops got pause. I'm gonna keep on. I don't like it, nephew. I don't like it. I don't like you hurt. It's only the second game. You're playing up there in Golden State. I don't like it. I don't like your field goal percentage. I'd rather you had scored 25 points and missed 52 shots. Give me, let's your team. It's summer league. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you got to play within the system and all that. But do you really got to play within the system? That's what I just about to say. But do you really got to play within the system?
You already got your contract. Go crazy.
Go crazy. Yo, Neff, I don't like the smiling. I don't like being passive. I don't like all that. I'm trying to fit in when you're supposed to stand out.
Yeah.
Pause. Listen. And there's no reason for you to be hurt. You didn't play college main last year because of something different. We know that was personal. No disrespect towards that whatsoever. But I'm talking about as far as your legs concerned. Your legs should be fresh. Just see you working out, do it through your legs and did all this sideways. I don't want to hear the injury. I want to hear it. It's too early in it's second game of summer league.
So you heard what they had to say. You heard what they had to say. Yo, I loved every bit of what they were saying. And do you know what was funny about that clip, that audio? I actually went to their comments to see what their subscribers were going to say. And the vast majority of them were agreeing with Cam and Mase. They're like, finally, somebody's keeping it funky. Somebody's keeping it real. These guys are actually keeping it real and saying what almost all of us are thinking. They actually said what everybody was thinking. But then they brought up another interesting point. Cam said it first, and then Mase came in. He said, I'm tired of all of the smiling and the grinning and all of that. He was like, I'm tired of that. Like, change your energy, switch your energy up, right? And then Mase goes, what does Mase say? Mase goes, we need to bring you to Harlem. You need to come to Harlem. And you need to spend a summer with it. And I've only been to Harlem. I've actually been to Harlem. I went to Harlem, I think 2 or 3 times. I know, or 1 or 2 times. I think the first or second time I went to Harlem, believe it or not, you can believe it or not, but I went to Harlem with A$AP Ferg. Now, this was before he was A$AP Ferg. A$AP Ferg, his dad is D Ferg. A$AP Ferg went to art and design, right? And I went to art and design, but when I was in art and design, he was a junior and I was a senior. And A$AP Ferg used to have he was a Harlem dude. You know, Harlem dudes, they super fly and all of that. So I remember it was towards graduation. So he was just a cool dude. So I said, he was like, come with me to Harlem and I'm going to take you to a barber shop. And I think he said it's a barber shop where Joel Santana cuts his hair and all, something like that. So we go to Harlem and I got like my graduation pictures where they do like this design in the back on the side of my head. Right. And I remember when I was with talking to him and he was telling me that time, I think he was into fashion. He was doing clothing, I think belts or something like that. And he was like, yeah, man, I want to go into I want to go into the hip hop industry. I'm going to be a rap star and all that. He's like, I got connections and all of that. So to see him later on go on to become who he's become, it's actually incredible. So shout out to him and nothing but success. Wishing A$AP Ferg nothing but success into the future. But back to what Cam and Mase said about going to Harlem. And this is why I love the fact that I grew up in New York. Although I was born in Maryland, right? But I did grow up in New York and, my junior high, high school and all of that. The reason I am happy, and I'm just speaking from my personal experience, people have different experiences and all of that. The reason I was happy about growing up in New York was that New York gives you a street sense, not just in the sense of, you're a tough guy and going out, because I was never a tough guy, right? I was a sucker. You weren't just going to hit me in my face and I'm going to just walk off. Now we're going to have to throw them hands, right? We're going to have to go back and forth if you win, whatever. But you're not just going to snuff me and then walk off into the sunset. But it gives you this street sense, like it smartens you up. It also toughens you up and it gives you edge and attitude, right? It gives you like an attitude to you. And if you meet any typical New York dude, any dude that you meet from New York, if they are a real New Yorker, they're very, very confident. They're very, 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 very confident. It is. That's how New Yorkers carry themselves, right? That's just how they are. They're gonna snap. They're gonna crack jokes on you. They're gonna dress fly. The swag. Like that's just how it is. And he was like, let Bronny come to Harlem with us for like what do you say? For like a summer. If Bronny James went to Harlem with those dudes for a summer, he would come back a totally different person. His whole bop, his whole energy, like it would change. But I think what they're saying is that it will give you an attitude, right? It will give you a sense of attitude. And they make a good point. Not to say that Bronny should go to Harlem, but I understand what they were saying. And it was refreshing because they came at this topic from a totally different standpoint. In terms of viewpoint, like what they were saying is something that obviously none of us could say because we're not in their shoes. But man, they gave a very, very interesting breakdown. But when Cam saw it, he was like, yo, like nah, I got it, nah, like yo, you need to fix your face, B. Like, nah, I was cracking up. So shout out to Cam and Mase, man. That was a classic segment. This is an interesting one, right? Because it looks like as if we got some drama brewing at ESPN. Now, as you guys know, when Shannon Sharpe initially joined ESPN, he was great for ratings. I mean, he still is great for ratings, but at that time, it was like a boon for ESPN. They were just getting record numbers. I think at certain days they were bringing in 900,000 viewers, where Undisputed was struggling to get like 112,000 viewers. I mean, it was just a total, it was totally lopsided, and Shannon Sharpe played a major role in that. And if you knew anything about both Shannon and Stephen A. Smith, you knew that they were big personalities. But I personally believe that Stephen A. Smith has the bigger personality, in terms of at least the bigger ego, right? Because Stephen A. Smith now finds himself in various disputes with people like Willie D, Faison Love, and various people are kind of going back and forth with him over his O.J. Simpson comments. But this morning we came across some information here from the website athlonsports.com. And it had a pretty headliner. It says, pretty interesting headline. It says, Stephen A. Smith's behavior causing serious tension behind the scenes at First Take. And when I first read that, I'm like, Stephen A. Smith is the one causing tensions? Because that's his show. I think he's also said he's the executive producer. So for him to be the source of tension, I was very surprised about it. So I read through the article and I was like, man, this is some pretty interesting information that I think the audience would be interested in. So that's the article we want to get into right now. So the article then continues on. A different kind of drama is said to be brewing behind closed doors on ESPN's First Take. The show's headliner, Stephen A. Smith, who's used to being the one stirring the controversy, appears to be at the center of it this time around. Smith is reportedly seeking a $7 million raise on his next contract with the worldwide leader once his current deal expires by next year. According to Steve Brenner of the U.S. Sun, the uncertainty surrounding Smith's future at ESPN has created a tension-filled environment on the First Take set. Smith and his co-analyst Shannon Sharpe have created a rift between them and the rest of the show's staff, per that report. Crew members describe the current First Take atmosphere as very frustrating and on the verge of becoming an impossible situation, quote unquote. Smith and Sharpe are doing whatever they want, an anonymous First Take staffer told Brenner. Shannon had his extension deal, and it's good for him, but you can really see that they both care about their deals more than about their coworkers and colleagues. I used to enjoy going to work, but right now I wake up in the morning not wanting to go. Smith has recently given his bold predictions on Caitlin Clark and Bronny James during the recent ESPN First Take episode, but it seems as though Smith's future and the future of the show may be just as controversial. And then essentially that's what that article had to say. Now, what's interesting, the interesting wrinkle about this is the fact that they're mentioning Shannon Sharpe. That Shannon Sharpe is being included in this situation there. What are my thoughts about this report? Stephen A. Smith has never made it a secret about his views on getting paid. He has said that he wants to be paid. I think if I'm just going to take a guess, I think he wants to be the highest paid personality at ESPN, and most of us view him as the face of the network, right? So you have that situation there, but I think you're also dealing with a case where you have, again, two big egos. And when you have that going on, these are the type of things that are going to happen. Now, in terms of what some of these coworkers are saying in terms of, they're looking after their contracts and all of that, that doesn't surprise me as well, right? Shannon Sharpe has been a lot more money orientated over the last few months. I mean, Shannon has been a millionaire for God knows how long. But ever since he got with Stephen A. Smith, he's been flexing and talking a lot about his money, which is fine. If that's what you want to do, by all means, have at it. But I think that some of that has rubbed off on some of Stephen A. Smith's character has rubbed off on Shannon Sharpe. Stephen A. Smith is very arrogant, in your face. He rarely apologizes for things. That's the reason he's in that back and forth right now with Willie D and Faison Love. He can rarely say that he's wrong. And I think some of that is rubbing off on Shannon Sharpe, where they're like, they feeling themselves. You remember when Deion Sanders and his team was doing well, they were flying private all over the place. These are full blown, celebrities. And I think that got to their head, and whether it's good or bad depends on your interpretation of it. And maybe that's also kind of spilling out onto the show, where maybe some of the crew members are like, well, this, you guys going after your money and all of that is fantastic, but what about the rest of us? And number two, what about the substance of the show? Now, what's been interesting is that Stephen A. Smith and these guys have been off for some time. I think he recently dropped the show where he said he was on break. I didn't see him on ESPN First Take yesterday, and Shannon Sharpe as well. I haven't seen Shannon Sharpe anywhere recently. Maybe they're all on break. Who knows? I know Skip Bayless and these guys have come back and all of that. But, I guess we just have to wait and see what comes of this story, if I'm being honest with you. As you guys know, Stephen A. Smith's contract is set to expire next year. I think the offer that he got was $18 million. And he's looking for a $25 million deal over 5 years. So that's what, $125 million contract. Is ESPN going to give him that money? I don't know, but Stephen A. Smith certainly believes so. And certain people believe that he does deserve that money, right? Stephen A. Smith, to be fair, has had a number one show for God knows how long, with ESPN First Take. And say whatever you will, this show was successful. Whether you like Stephen A. Smith or not, you can't deny his impact on the network. And that really is irrelevant when it comes to him getting his dollars if that's what the market says he's worth. If the market says he's worth $25 million, that's what he's worth. I can see Stephen A. Smith being in a more contentious situation than Shannon Sharpe, because Shannon Sharpe has already kind of mastered both worlds. He's mastered the independent world, and he's mastered the linear world, being on television. He already has an established voice off of ESPN, and one could make a legitimate argument that Shannon Sharpe is a bigger deal off of ESPN than he is on ESPN. He's a big deal on ESPN, but he's also a big deal off of ESPN, right? He's gotten a lot of his success off of ESPN. Now, does it help his brand? Absolutely, because it keeps him current. He's on a big show. His name is always out there. But nevertheless, I think Shannon probably will have a little bit less anxiety than Stephen A. Smith. I guess we just have to wait and see. Right? I guess we have to wait and see. Personally, I think ESPN is going to offer him the money that he wants. I think that's what they're going to do. Because if they're not going to offer him that money, what, you going to let him walk? And if you're going to let him walk, who are you going to replace him for? Shannon Sharpe? Well, we shall see. Because Shannon has a lot of projects outside of ESPN. So how is that going to work? Right? How is that going to work? But that's what the article is saying here. This is a very serious topic that I want to get into. Yesterday, we've been seeing various creators create content, about Dreamerspro, and some comments that I made on one of our shows yesterday, where I was discussing LeBron James fans, and I said that some LeBron James fans, all they care about is LeBron, and they take it so far that they're willing to crash out over him. They will talk about, you want to talk about black love and black community and seeing black men do well and all of this nonsense. But the minute a black man, says anything critical about LeBron, they ready to come at you. And recently I received a threat online, and, the gentleman seemed pretty serious about it. So various people were reporting on that story, because I briefly mentioned it in one of the shows. But that's not really what I want to focus on today. I don't want to focus on the fact that, I'm some victim and somebody said this about me and I'm up here coming to cry to you guys on the internet. No, that's not what I'm doing here. What I want to talk about today is a very, very serious problem that exists within the sports ecosystem, and I think it's important that we address this. And I want to really share my views with you guys, and I'm very, very interested to see what some of you are going to say about it. The thing I want to discuss is this: LeBron and his Clutch Sports guys have done a major disservice to sports fans and NBA fans, because what these guys have done is that they've gone out there and gotten so many people to sing their praises. You have people on ESPN, on FS1, and all of these networks, and all they do is tell you about how great LeBron is. And then the moment his followers hear someone else say, you know what, I think LeBron is great, but I think somebody else is better, it creates a problem. And some people can't handle that. And to me, this is a very serious problem. The reason it's a serious problem is because these people now want to basically silence anyone that has a different opinion from them. And to me, that's the problem. If you believe that LeBron is the greatest player of all time, no problem. If you believe he's the best player and he's better than Michael Jordan and blah, 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 they can't compare to him, no problem. Where I have an issue is if you guys now try to stop other people from sharing their views, which are different from you. That's when we have a problem. When you try to silence other voices, that's where we got a problem. And this is what they do. LeBron fans predominantly stalk our page. And what they do is, whenever we release 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos about LeBron, what they start doing is they start counting the videos. Man, this is the third video you produced. Man, this is the fourth video produced. It's the fifth video produced. Once that doesn't do anything, they go to the next one. They now try to go to shaming tactics. Oh, man, you need LeBron James to pay your rent. You need LeBron James to go buy this. You need LeBron James to go do that. And then they go, how many more LeBron? What they're saying in a roundabout way is that, can you stop saying things about LeBron that we disagree with? But the problem is, whenever I go to ESPN or FS1 and I go click on Nick Wright's show or Shannon Sharpe's show or whoever's out there twerking it up all over the place, pouring buckets of honey all over their belly, shaking it up for LeBron James, they don't say anything at all because they love it. And to them, it's not that you're talking about LeBron. To them is that you're not saying nice things. And some of them within that faction will then take it a step further and say, you know what? Not only do I not like what this guy is saying, I'm going to take it to the next level and say I don't like him. And then I'm going to take it to the next level and then try to go to the next level. Now, there are some LeBron channels out there that have some decency. There are. And there are others that have absolutely no decency whatsoever. None. They know who they are. They make jokes out of it. They're weasels. That's why they're not growing. But he knows. He knows who he is. He's not growing. And he will never grow. All he will do is sit up there just creating garbage content with the Sesame Street music that nobody cares about. But nevertheless, he'll keep doing it. And to me, this is a problem. If you are a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, and you think Ronaldo is the greatest football player of all time, fantastic. If somebody else believes that Mase is the best football player of all time, fantastic. Where you have a problem is when you have one group trying to silence the other group. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is this. Let's be adults about this. Folks, this is just sports. This is just sports. Some of us are a little bit too emotionally invested in these players' lives. It is just sports. It's just sports. I used to be, especially when I was in college, oh my God, man. When Kobe was on the Lakers, oh man, whenever the Lakers would win a game, oh, I'll be so happy. 2 games, 3 games in a row. But when the Lakers are going on a losing streak, they'll lose 2 games or 3, I will almost go into a full-blown depression. And then after a while, I had to say to myself, but wait a minute. At the end of the day, Kobe and these guys are going to get paid their millions. They're going to go through the disappointment, and they're going to get paid for it. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here. I can't even get through my day because I'm so disappointed and sad that the Lakers. I'm like, no. This has to stop. I'm a little bit too emotionally invested into this. Did I still support them? But yeah, but I had to have a cutoff point. I had to have a cutoff point where I'm disappointed, but there's a cutoff point. There's reality. There's my reality. And I'm not going to let what just happened on the court spill into my life because actually there's no relation absolutely whatsoever. I'm not playing on the team. I don't work for the team. So I needed to have a disconnect. If you're a parent and you support a particular sport and maybe your team doesn't do well or your favorite player doesn't do well, what you going to do? Walk around the house with a bad attitude and pass it over to your kids and your wife or whatever it is and your relatives? You're going to be giving them an attitude because so-and-so game didn't go the way that you wanted it to? Like, come on. Like, how old are we? Like for real, how old are we? Are we going to be adults about this situation or not? And that's my issue with it. So these people saying all of this and so on, they're not, I mean, I laughed it off because it's laughable. It is. But the problem is bigger than the threat. The problem is these guys out here trying to silence other voices, especially knowing when they have everybody in media twerking it up all over the place, knocking over drinks, just basically just disturbing the entire place, running through the woods with torches in their hands, hollering and screaming. They got all these people in media, and if they cannot get you, they got a problem. Like, they want to collect you like Infinity Stones. They got to have everybody. They got to have everybody. And then when they can't have you, this is what you get. That's a problem, and we need to grow up. We need to grow up. Like, is it that serious? Because I say, okay, LeBron is in my top 5. It really hurts you that bad? No, you need to work on yourself. It's never that serious. So we need to grow up. It's sports. Yes, I get it. It's an emotional thing. Same way politics is, same way religion is. But at a certain point, there needs to be a cutoff point. And some people, for whatever reason, cannot draw the distinction to me. If you believe LeBron is the greatest player of all time, if you believe Hakeem Olajuwon is the greatest player, if you believe it's Kareem, if it's Jordan, have your opinion. My issue is when you now try to silence people that have different opinions. That is a problem. Because you're now trying to infringe upon people's rights. That is a problem. And I hope some of these LeBron supporters, these zealots within the faction, because some of them are just normal people, but the zealots, y'all need to relax. It's just sports. Like, it's just sports.